Wygand. I'm a dad on a mission. So I'm gonna explain a little bit about that mission, but before that I wanna go back and kind of explain a little bit how I got to this. So back in 2003, I was 260 pounds. I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I was drinking a lot, but I wanted to be healthier, and I started to bike. And that's when the idea of doing an Ironman came up to play. You know, I heard about Ironmans when I was 14 to 15 years old. I remember that time I was playing basketball, and in order to kind of get in shape for basketball, I started to swim, bike, and run. And then I heard about the Ironman Hawaii's, but I thought it was too crazy, you know. And then, but in 2003, when I was 23, I wanted to prove myself, and I decided to buy a tri-bike. I felt like I'm gonna do an Ironman just because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And then I remember when I went by my first bike, I was smelling like cigarettes and I was overweight. And then the guy asked, like, do you really know what Ironman is? Because, you know, I'm assuming that he probably smelled my breath of cigarettes, and he saw that I was like overweight. And I told him, like, yeah, I know what it is. So this is what I did. I quit smoking, and like the way I quit was just like, I bought a pack of cigarettes. I felt like I don't need this. I threw it out. I started eating properly. I was living in Florida at that time, so I went back to Brazil just to get some therapy done in my own language, you know, like I was a little depressed and all that. So I went to Brazil, and my first race was 70.3. I didn't even have cycling shoes in that. I actually had regular running shoes, which make transition a little easier, but I just, you know, like I didn't know anything about it. But I did pretty well. I did 5:41, and then I decided to do my first Ironman, which I sucked. Like I puked 6 times. Actually, I puked 12 times, 6 times on the bike, so 1 every hour. And then I puked, I don't know, probably 6 more times on the run. So it was pretty much, I finished in 14 hours. I puked pretty much almost every hour. So it was horrible, but I was hooked, and I wanted to fight the odds. And then I decided, like, I love this so much, I'm gonna make it my profession. So, and then to try out, back in 2005, I met my wife, which she was a triathlete as well. And I met through a friend that was also a triathlete. So back in 2012, I started to get a little tired, and I started debating the whole racing professionally for a while. You know, I was getting tired of all the drug stories that I read. Like, I had friends that got caught, and I was like, man, I never took any drugs, and you know, like, I'm competing against those guys. I'm not saying that everybody takes drugs, but I was, you know, like racing about with a bunch of guys that were taking it. Like, some of the guys that I know that got caught, and some of the stories that I know that is real, they, like, I knew them, you know, they started pretty much with me. And then, 2012 was the same year that I had this icon on triathlon, and I saw her passing me, because I was like ahead of her in the race, and then I saw her passing me drafting off two guys, which she was doing two things wrong. Like, one of them she was drafting, which is illegal, and second, she was drafting off a man, which is also illegal. On a draft legal race, that's illegal for women to draft off men. So I started debating all of this. I thought about doing a foundation, but I didn't know what cause, but I really started debating on, like, should I keep racing? But you know, I was like, oh, this is my dream, I just keep pushing it through, and you know, so that's when in 2012 when I started debating a little bit, and then that's when the idea of becoming a dad it started growing on me. So fast forward for 2015, I had recently changed my diet. I was vegan in 2012 all the way to 2013-14, but I was starting to have hormonal issues. So I changed my diet, and in January 2015 I did one of my best races. But it sucked for one thing. Like, my tire literally blew up, like a hole this big. So I waited 45 minutes. I was leading the course. It was the HITS Triathlon Naples. I was leading the course record, and my tire blew up. So the guy on the motorcycle went to pick up another tire. So that took me 45 minutes. Waiting time I saw on my Garmin, but still I came back on the race. I got second. I still broke 10 hours, but I was feeling really good because I had changed my diet and I was burning fat like efficiently. And that year was the same year that my wife done her first 7.3. Until then she had done like millions of sprints in Olympic distance triathlon, but she did the 7.3 the same day I did the full. With that, you know, like, so I finished basically my Garmin time, moving time was 9:14, and I consider that my best Ironman. However, it's not official because I waited 45 minutes for my tire. But either way, that happens as part of racing, as part of life. But that year was the year that becoming a dad started materializing. I tried to go, I was still having health issues, but it was getting better. So I took some time off because I remember asking my mom what was the symptoms of hot flashes. And I realized I was having hot flashes with all the stress from training and all that. So I took some time off. I was debating still if I was going back to racing or not. And that year, I decided to do Ironman Cozumel. My wife was 2 weeks pregnant. We went to Cozumel, but it didn't work quite well because my water bottle broke on the bike. I got severely dehydrated. I stopped, but my mind on that time was already in another universe, let's put it this way. I was already thinking about being a dad and all that stuff. So after Cozumel, I decided to take 2 weeks off, and that's what I did. I took time off, literally the change in the diet and the times off I took that year, it made a huge difference. So I took this 2 weeks off, and then, but I wasn't quite done yet. So I thought about it, and then I was like, you know what? I gotta go back, and then I'm gonna do Naples again. So I went to Naples, which was the same day as my wedding anniversary, the legal wedding anniversary, not the ceremony. And I won the race. You know, like, it was a tough race. It wasn't my best race, but it was enough to cross the finish line first. I was super happy with that, and so I got a little pumped, but I tried to go back to training. I was having some herniated disc issue from riding on a bike for so long, and that was actually my first real injury. So that started making me rethink. So at that time, I got a pedal board. I started pedal boarding just because it was good for my neck. I needed to do some exercise, and I was looking for finally getting something different. My wife was pregnant. I was super excited about that. I wanted to literally be in every single doctor's appointment that she had, which I did. I wanted to participate as much as I could, waiting for my son to arrive, and also wanted to recover my health. I wanted to do something was a little lighter on the body, more in direct contact with nature. Like Ironman, you're in contact with nature, but you're still biking hours between the cars and all the stress, people trying to hit you, you flipping them off, and all that kind of stuff that goes on the road, and that's really stressful. Also, like the pounding, and I've been pushing myself like literally to the max since 2004, and I was the kind of athlete that I wasn't like naturally gifted. I came from ground zero. I was overweight. I'd smoked before, so the only thing I could use in my favor was my discipline, was not missing any single workout and always doing the best I could. So that's what I did, and based on that, I think I achieved quite a bit in the sport, but I think the universe had something else planned for me. I know for sure, but so that's how I kind of like ended my triathlon there. I love coaching, but right now the only way I could do a try is if I carry my son. Of 2016, my son was born, and then when he was born, that was when we realized something was kind of wrong, because he did not cry, and he, like, as soon as he came out of my wife's belly, he was basically brought back to life on her belly. And like, for those who know, like, they do an Apgar number when the kid is born, from just to see, you know, how alert and how, you know, like, technically how healthy he is. So his Apgar number was 2. It goes from 0 to 10. But I remember the doula that we hired said, like, he needs to hear a familiar voice. So I went there when they were trying to beg him and kind of like make sure everything was fine. So, well, not make sure everything was fine, make sure that he was like getting the support that he needed. So in the middle of the bags, I went to him and said, "Daddy's here." So he grabbed my finger, like literally like this, and that was the only movement he did for the next 72 hours. We were transferred to Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital, from Wellington to Fort Lauderdale, where they have more specialists in there. And so we spent 84 days in the NICU. And then in the NICU, he got diagnosed with nemaline myopathy, which is a rare genetic condition that I don't carry, my wife doesn't carry, but somehow he created on his own. And that condition affects the muscles. And it's kind of ironic, right? two triathletes, healthy triathletes, have a kid with a condition that creates muscle weakness pretty much. That's the best way to. So basically to eat, breathe, walk, talk, it's hard. So we went back home. We have a few difficulties, 2 911 calls. We went back to the PQ. We spent 40 days in there. That's when he got his stroke. But after all that, I was like, okay, I'm ready to stop racing for sure now and dedicate to my family and to raise awareness for pneumonia myopathy. And that's when the Go Look Wygand Foundation started. But before the foundation was founded and all that, I went to a lot of guilt, you know, like, which I believe it just ended pretty much now when he turned 23 months pretty much. But I went to a phase that, you know, I felt guilty. When the foundation was born and the Pedaling for Strength project came out, and I was sure that, like, okay, I need to raise awareness for this. I always wanted to create a foundation, and I didn't know what the cause is, but now life gave me like a very good cause, my own son. So that's when I started the healing process. That's when the foundation started. That's when the healing process started. But it only came to concrete, to conclusion now. You know, like I tried to go to respiratory therapy school, and my son had surgery the other day where they needed to put his testicles down because they didn't come down yet because of the muscle. And like when I saw him there, I was like, okay, I don't think I'm really ready for this, to work on a place that reminds like all the stress that we went through. So I asked to shadow someone at the hospital, and I did. And I literally, the hospital is about 30 minutes to 45 minutes from my house. And I literally cried from there to home because it reminded me a lot of things. But that's when I literally saw, like, okay, you know what, it's not my fault. There is a reason why I am his father. And that's what I hold on to it. And that's when it clicked in my head, like, you know what, that's what I need to be doing. He chose me because he knew I was good with muscles, and I was good in facing a challenge. I was good in overcoming stuff, and he knew I could help him. And that's when I realized, like, okay, it's not my fault. It's just, in fact, it's combining my strength with his weakness and his strength with my weakness to kind of do this together. And that's when I realized, okay, you know, like, that's when I really, you know, felt like I was healed. It's not that I'm not gonna have any more stress and I'm not gonna go through any more difficulties, but there was like, okay, this is a new phase starting. So the original goal was to do 200 miles from West Palm Beach to Key West. I started training back in 2017, just like with a different perspective. My goal was to be healthy. I couldn't spend as many hours training like I did Ironman before. Like, I wanted to dedicate myself to my family and my health. So I was training like the minimum to get there, because the goal was to do in 2018, June of 2018, the 200 miles. But to do a project like this, you need a lot of money, and you need some safety things, such as a boat during nighttime, and that was getting like really expensive, and I didn't raise as much money as I wanted to. So I had to postpone it. Plus, we were moving to Colorado, and the stress of moving and everything together was just not working properly. So we postponed it 2019, maybe 2020 or 2021, depends if we have another baby or not, which I really want to. But the main thing is I started to train to lose the baby weight, like it's common, some dads do gain weight during the pregnancy, especially the first pregnancy. And then for me it was like, because I wasn't training much and I'm a stress eater, it happened, I gained weight. And then, so when I started training back again, I was trying to lose the baby weight, but the move and everything else going on in my life, it wasn't helping as much. But I try my best now. Because like before doing Ironman, I didn't have to worry too much about my stress eating because I was burning so much, like you train 7 hours in a day, it's not that you had to, it's not like you can eat every cupcake in the world, but it's a lot more relaxing when you eat a little bit more or not. But when you're not training, it's a whole different story. But either way, I started to train back again. Since I didn't raise enough money and with the move and all that, I was like, I need to do something before we leave. So that's when I did a 24-hour pedalboarding challenge. Ready.
Okay, 24 hours.
24 hours pedalboarding on that baby right there. 2.9 mile loop. The struggle is real.
This is the lake. And look who's there. Making friends.
Você gostou?
Você sabe filmar. Desculpa.
Segura aí.
Depois disso a gente já fez.
Dá até um pouco aqui.
Como é que é o...
Say something about your husband before I get in the water.
I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for doing this for Yuki and all the kids. I love you so much.
I love you too. Luke, you have anything to say to your daddy? Dada. 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 You're too cute, buddy.
Manda beijo pro papai, então. Manda beijo.
Yeah.
Oi.
Bye. I see you tomorrow at 10:30.
Look at your shirt. Show your shirt, Luki.
Look at your shirt.
Yuki, Carol, and Richard.
I guess the first 9 hours are gonna be okay.
Yeah, I'm worried about the second 12. That's it.
Look, Carol, I'm gonna take it anymore.
If somebody hears a cell phone call from me, don't pick it up.
All right, it's a deal.
Water and my green breasts. Hey, we got about what, 10 hours left? It's 14 hours, almost 14 hours now. 10 hours left. I look super pretty, but it's not about looking pretty, it's about getting it done. What? You know, like my foot is so huge that when I put this, it was large.
Dada! Yay! Dada! Yay, Dada!
Yep.
Aqui balançando. I made it.
Yay! You're doing this! Muito corajoso.
Beleza, boss.
Man, that was tough.
Parabéns. Você tá dando parabéns pro papai, é? Parabéns! Parabéns pro papai!
Cadê parabéns?
E o beijo do papai?
O papai vai ter ali, ó.
Oi!
Deixa eu sair daqui.
I made it. 24 hours.
Congrats.
I feel good. I can go another 24.
Wow, okay, so just jump right in. Okay, you ready? Go.
I feel good. I honestly feel good.
How were you feeling last night?
Last night was a little tough.
What was it like
Some
in
point,
the dark?
like in the beginning, it was tough.
Yeah.
And then,
Condition to it.
yeah, then you kind of like your eyes get used to, and your mind gets used to, and then you go. Then from 1 o'clock to 7, I didn't stop. I went straight. I stopped like here and there just to refuel it. But felt good. Felt really good. Where's my beer?
24 hours.